everyone, it's Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I'm up today with another layout for Confessions of a Paper Addict. This is my last layout for the month of January, and I am using the couples cut file. Now it comes with different options depending on who's getting married. So it's got Mr. and Mrs., Mrs. and Mrs., and Mr. and Mr. So lots of options there. And so this is pictures of my friend's wedding. This is actually, I've got a companion layout for this one. So it's not a double page spread, but they do look very similar. So I use the same collection, which is my How to Kill a Kit with Style collection for the month of January, which is the Happiness collection from Cocoa Vanilla Studio. And that layout went up back on the 11th of January, I think. And this one's not going up until like the 27th of January. So, you know, they're at sort of opposite ends of the month. But basically my friends got married. So it's my cousin and his wife. They got married in August. I thought I'd written the date. Yeah, August. And it was the weekend that we went back into lockdown. And so only those people who lived in regional Victoria, in the state that I live in, were able to attend. And I think they could maybe only have 20 there or something. So they ended up live streaming the wedding, which was lovely. So I didn't actually attend this wedding in person, even though that had been the plan. I was stuck in lockdown. So I've got pictures of me with my laptop watching the wedding. I've got some selfies, which I've created a layout for. And then this layout is just the professional photos that I outrageously stole from their Facebook page. And I'm documenting that as well. So even though I wasn't there, I still thought these photos are beautiful and I want to include them. He is my cousin, but they're also, it's a long story. We're not actually related. Very close family friends. His parents are my godparents. I just call them auntie and uncle. I call them my cousins because, you know, that's how close we are. We are family. So what I'm doing, it's a very basic concept for a layout, but I think is very effective. So I've chosen a pretty bold pattern paper background, although it's not a lot of pattern to it. It's like a wash of colour, but it's quite bright with the blue, quite striking. I've got a whole lot of fussy cut butterflies, which came from one of the 12 by 12 papers, and I am essentially creating a bed or a shelf at the sort of bottom of the page, and my cut file is going to sit on top of that, and my photos are sort of going to sit on top of it as well. So the shelf is kind of a place for the photos to rest on, and also for my cut file to sit on top of. And I've just backed the cut file in vellum, kept it very simple, very plain, and really just using the butterflies to kind of give that interest to the page. And with the vellum, it sort of tones down the butterfly background a little bit so you can still clearly read what is the title of the layout. And I'm really, really happy with how it all came together. Really happy. Simple but beautiful, I think. Now, obviously, for a lot of you, you will call this extremely over-embellished, and that's okay. I guess, you know, you could definitely replace that sea of butterflies down the bottom with pattern paper strip, which would make it much less intense. But I just had the butterflies. I wanted to use them. So you know what? I'm using them. And I've also got these butterflies, wood veneer butterflies, on the left-hand side of the page as well, which I am trying to work my way through. I actually do finish them this month, so I'm very proud about that. Wood veneer is something I love and I hoard, but I don't use very often. So I am making an effort this year to try and use up the things that I love. Right, so I've created my shelf down the bottom. Now I'm going to add my photos. I did get a little bit of glue on the bride's dress there. So I'm going to stick my photos down. I am going to mat them on some pattern paper first, just to help them kind of pop off the page a little bit more. I have backed them on white cardstock, which is good. That helps. But I'm going to pull out a couple of pattern papers. Not that you see much. It's just a really tiny border, but just as something else to help lift them off the page, just because that background paper is so bright. So I'm just doing that now. going to back my photos. Oh, I will tell you, as I said, that the title of the cut file is Couples. It will be linked in the description box down below, so I will link directly to this cut file, but also I will link to the Etsy store in general for Confessions of a Paper Addict, so you can just browse the almost 1,000 cut files that Virginia has. In fact, oh no, she might almost be at 1,000 by the time this goes up, but I don't think so. It might not be until February that she cracks 1,000 cut files on her page, but it's very exciting. So I will link to that, and I will also link to the Facebook page or the Facebook group, because in the Facebook group, Virginia releases a free cut file every month. So it's worth it to come and hang out with us because she has lovely cut files and you can grab your freebie. So that will all be in the description box. I am popping up this photo, the one where they're looking at each other lovingly. I feel like, look, I'm not married, so I probably shouldn't be one to kind of talk about weddings like this with any authority, but I feel like you get some there's very stereotypical wedding photos, and these are beautiful photos. The photographer did a lovely job, but you do get the same kinds of photos, so the kissing photos and looking lovingly into each other's eyes, but they are stunning photos, beautiful photos. So I'm just adding a couple more butterflies here underneath just to cover up a little bit of that. I call it white space. I mean, it's not literally white because the background paper is blue, but I was just didn't want too much of that blue to peek through between the photos and that shelf of butterflies. And then I'm just going to create 2 more clusters up the top, just to kind of, I don't know, bring some of those butterflies up the top, balance it out a little bit. I am scattering the wood veneer around the page, and I will come in and glue those down with wet glue. Just because I find wet glue holds them a little better than my ATG glue. I think the ATG glue would do the job, but I just find wet glue is a little bit easier in this case because they are quite small. Having said that, I'm running out of wet glue, so it does take me a bit to get the wet glue on the back of all of these, plus on the back of all the butterflies that I used. So you can see me giving it a good shake to try and get the last little bit of glue out because I'm nearly done. But I'm going to stick down all these butterflies. I will come in with some splatters at the end and some tiny word stickers. So I still have a little bit to go. While this layout was super simple to put together, it was a little fiddly having to stick down all those butterflies. So it did take me a little bit of time, but I think it was worth it. I don't know. Again, it might be too busy for many of you, and potentially could have put it on a white cardstock background and maybe just use the blue as a border. I think that would have looked lovely too. And I guess probably my main motivation for not doing that was probably because I was trying to use up this collection. So, was that good motivation? Maybe not. Maybe I should have, the white cardstock would probably have looked a little bit more elegant, potentially. But you know what? I quite like the blue. I do. I quite like the blue. I don't know what else to tell you. How have we all been travelling? Is everyone having as good a time as they can under the circumstances? I know things are, heating up for most people in their countries, but I'm hoping that we're riding out this storm. Now, look, I am filming this voiceover. I'm doing the voiceover on the 8th of January, and this video doesn't actually go up until the 27th of January. That's a long time. Many things could have happened in that time. And so potentially I probably don't want to make any predictions because I'll be, upset if they don't come true, and I don't know, upset if they do, who knows. And we'll just keep on keeping on and see where life takes us on the 27th of Jan. We're hoping Lincoln is scheduled to have some surgery that he was supposed to have in December. If you watched any of our scrappy advent calendar videos, he was supposed to have some surgery on the 1st of December, but he got an ear infection, so had to postpone that. And we were rebooked for the 9th of February, I think. They have just cancelled all elective surgeries in Melbourne. His surgery... while it's technically elective, but it's sort of not. Anyway, I'm hoping that it goes ahead. We don't know at this stage. We're still waiting to hear, but I am hopeful that it is going ahead. So I'm hoping that by the time this video does go live on the 27th of Jan, we should know if it's going ahead or not, and we can be planning for that. But our assumption is that it is going ahead, and hopefully it is, because waiting quite a long time for this surgery, and it will be good to have it finished before Bub's number 2 arrives. So let us hope that it can continue as scheduled. Now I am just adding in those last few little butterflies up the top. I am going to come in with some tiny word stickers, and then some splatters, and we'll be all done. So as I said, everything is linked in the description box down below. You can see from the state of my sticker sheet there that I am, getting there with this kit. This wasn't the last layout I created, spoiler alert. It's the last one that you'll see on the channel, I think. But it's not. Oh, no, you might see one more. You might see one more from me on the 29th, I think, of January. So there you go. But it is nearing the end of what I created, and I will have a killer kit video and layout share that will go up on the 31st of January, and so yeah, hopefully you'll be able to tune in and see how I did with killing this kit. I had a lot of paper so it'll be interesting to see what I have left by the time we get to the end. So I am nearly done. Just going to add some splatters. I add some navy Heidi Top Colour Shine and also the gold Marabou art spray, which is an acrylic spray. And then I'm finished. So stay tuned for some close-ups at the end so you can see in all of its details, and you can see all those butterflies up close. I hope you've enjoyed it. Everything will be linked in the description box. Go and check out this cut file specifically. And as I said, there's lots of variations depending on who you have that's getting married. So Mr. and Mrs., Mrs. and Mrs. and Mr. and Mr. So lots of options there. And then also there's over 900 I think there's over 990 cut files that you can be exploring while you are at the COAPA Etsy store. So go and, have a look to your heart's content. All right, guys, here are my close-ups. Everything is linked in the description box, as I said, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.